Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Miami Minutes. This is the podcast that games like no other man. Our game being to talk about Miami Connection 1 minute at a time. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
And here, representing the real tough guys, it's your other host, John Parker, or tough persons.
That's again the updated Miami Connection soundtrack. Tough persons.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one for me because it's a tough one for me because I might be non-binary, but I don't. If someone calls me, I look like I'm stereotypical man half of the time. So it's like I don't care if someone says that. Really, that's the beauty of like not caring about pronouns too much. It's like you can call me anything and you can't insult me. Mm-hmm. Screw you. Fuck you. Yeah.
I can't speak to it because I'm not non-binary myself, but I would have thought like half the thing would be that like being non-binary means you don't care either way, so it's like, yeah, you could call me a man or you could call me a woman, and it doesn't really matter because, or unless they're very much a stickler for, I'm an in-between, and there is no, the twain shall never meet kind of thing.
This is why, as much as I love the term, it doesn't work always, right? Because different people have a different view on that. So that is why some people actually don't like it too much as a descriptor. They like it as an umbrella, because I am of that mindset of like, I don't really give a shit. Call me what you want, as long as you're not being insulting. And if you're being insulting, well, you're a dick anyway. So it doesn't really matter. But some people are like, no. This, like that, they have their set thing, which is fine again. That's fine. So tough guys.
Well, up until like, and I think we had this the same conversation with. It was something during Batman and I think it was during Batman and Robin. I remember using the terms "guys" as a blanket term to mean both men and women.
That's become a thing over the years, hasn't it? Yeah.
I was always of the mindset that it's just like no, it's that guys means everybody. And then, like, I'll have to try to remember at some point. I'm sure it'll come to me after recording, but, like, there was a whole conversation about, like, no, guys is very... It's sort of leaked into people's minds of being like, yes. Oh, yeah, you say guys mean everyone. Like, you get so many YouTubers will pop up and going, hey, guys, as if it's talking to the entire audience that's there. But it's supposed to be like, no, guys actually does mean, like, fellas.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. But the thing is, like, if you're not saying it to be, again, a prick, then it's kind of fine. It's more like you should try and change that behavior rather than someone getting angry at you. It's more like, try and make an effort. Because what it boils down to, why it's become, like, it can be applied to all genders is, and I'm going to sound like I'm on a soapbox here, but it is the patriarchy. Because it is like, well, men are the default.
Yeah.
So if you say guys, well, men are the default audience, I think is where it comes from. Which in the early days of like YouTube and stuff probably was sort of true.
Yeah. I'd say probably like, well, it could be a good like 70%. Like considering a lot of what goes on YouTube these days.
These days, yeah.
But then again, maybe I'm just not into the femisphere as much. So there could be there's a whole side of YouTube I'm not seeing. But anyway, tough guys.
Yeah.
We keep getting distracted from that.
You can tell we're tough guys.
But of course, yes, this is minute 53 of Miami Connection, which opens with some cops who have missed their prize. And it ends a minute later with a screen full of tough guys.
Oh, yeah.
I think last week you said these guys are most likely actual police officers who
that's what they were hinting at in the commentary track.
I would say that's probably true more than my assumption that they were strippers who had hired or like hot cops, because I imagine strippers would be better actors than these guys.
Yeah, their job kind of is acting.
Yeah, you have to be able to go in and like have it be believable that you're going to, arrest the lady at her hen party or bachelorette party, I should say. Hen party is a very Eurocentric kind of phrase.
It really is. And you know what? I'm going to go against my own people here. I hate that term.
I never got it as a term, too, because, like, a stag party is the bachelor party. And a stag's a good, sturdy, like, elegant but strong, and it's got the big friggin' antlers. It's like, yeah, stag. Who wouldn't want to be a stag? And then a hen is like a little fat clucking thing that just like bucks around and just lining up to get killed anyway. it's just like, why wouldn't you want to go for like a gazelle party? Like, there you go. That's like, speedy and beautiful.
Lithe.
Lithe and stuff. And it's like, no, hen party. And everyone over here is just no one's questioning it. It's never come up as a thing about like, we need to change. There's been so many things recently that pop up online and people going, we need to change this, that, and the other. And, sometimes you're just like, you're picking holes in nothing now. But something like, changing the term hen party should be like, well, yeah, it seems like it's insulting to me, but
well, that's the thing. Like, it could. I don't know. I haven't looked it up. It could come from a few things. One, it could come from you getting married, so she's going to become, as the term is, a mother hen. She's going to have children, and all. Maybe that's the implication. Mm-hmm. Also, maybe the implication is, as he says in Alan Partridge, women are just a bunch of clucking chickens, just making noise. I think no matter what way you take it, it's kind of insulting.
Yeah, it could be. So, there's going to be put in the battery farm, and once you get married, you just sit at home, and your whole thing is just to lay eggs. Yeah, and just that's the implication that I get from it. And so it's
but the man gets to be a stag.
Yeah, man, I guess go out and just, freaking go out and hunt and attack and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, while the mother hen sits at home, it's like, well, maybe we should be, again, bachelorette party. All right, that's what, by all means go. Yeah.
And you know what? People might think that this doesn't have anything to do with what's going on, but I disagree. This is an important conversation that's tied into the lyrics of the song, really, because we're talking about masculinity and things like that.
Yeah. I don't know why we said this might have been the episode where Miami Minutes went so woke, though. We're just like, we keep getting distracted talking about like, well, no, this terminology is very out of date now.
I'm very woke. I think you probably are as well in the grand scheme of things.
But let's go on to talking about some craptacular. Actually, there's no action in terms of like kung fu chicanery, but there is like there's action in terms of like stuff's going on. This is an unexpected one because I completely forgot about Tough Guys as a song in the movie.
It's a beautiful.
So when it started up, I was like, oh my god! But I guess we should deal with the last of these two coppers here.
Oh my god, I love their dialogue so much, so much. Especially when this one guy is like, "Where did everybody go?"
Yeah,
because it's like, did you not just see them all drive away right in front of your eyes? We watched it happen. They were about 3 feet away from the police car.
Where did everybody go? It's like it could not be more, it couldn't be more stiff if he was drinking starch, But there's even the other guy's response was just like, I don't know. This is like, of course he doesn't know. Why would you think he would know? He's in the same boat as you.
Yeah, if you haven't seen him, Jesus, that'd make you look even fucking worse.
I bet they're going back to Jeff's hideout back down on Route 66 down there.
And the other line, oh my god, he goes, we need to get these gangs out of Central Florida anyway. So wait, does he think that they did well? That they succeeded? That they chased him off? Dude, you failed miserably.
The whole thing is just like baffling because even prior to that, they're just like another gang. I guess it's like, well, they're clearly having a big fight. It's not you're saying gang singular. There was clearly you should be saying, oh, there's new gangs in town, or there's a rumble going on, or like another gang war or something. But just be like, oh, it's one gang. All they do is hang around the train yard, kicking the crap out of themselves.
Maybe.
And then, his whole thing, we need to get these gangs out of Central Florida anyway. It's just like, the way he's kind of putting the gun back in his holster, like, that's another job well done.
Yeah. He seems to think, we chased them off. And it's like, okay, technically you did, but you've not solved the problem. He thinks that they're just going to go, to the other end of the country. Yeah,
he's just like, that's obviously a Delaware gang that have come in. And they're hanging out in Central Florida, but now they've seen that we do have police here, which they probably weren't expecting.
They're never going to come back around here.
It's like they're so fearsome as our presence that there's no way that they're going to continue to exist in Orlando. I'll tell you that.
I mean, they not just one cop turned up, 2. That raises a question. How did they know this fight was happening, right? Because if someone called the police and said...
There's got to be a narc in there somewhere.
Well, yeah, but if someone rang, a narc or a passerby, whoever it was, the police, to break up a fight between 2 gangs, have sent 2 guys. I don't think that's going to work.
Unless it was just one of those things of like they got like the radio call, and they're like, well, I'm in the area, and they show up in 2 cars, so they might be like, oop, and then there could be like a fleet coming behind them or something. But
I'm sorry though, I don't. Be safe, right? ACAB and all that, but be safe as an individual. As an individual human being, don't be going up to gangs solo or even in a duo. This isn't a little gang. There's a lot of guys here who have shown that they all get violent.
Yeah, no, totally, yeah.
I would imagine Yashito would just kill these cops.
Although Yashito himself's not there, because this is Yashito is later. Yeah, this is Jeff's guy. Although Jeff also would probably kill these cops for sure.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe not Jeff. But the cops don't know that.
Oh, Jeff might be more of like a smoozer, so he might be able to come in and be like, well, if you want a 50% membership deal at my gym, or actually no, because we see how elegant. Well, no, because Yashito is more of a he was the where's the money like that aggressive asshole, and Jeff he did have his bathroom office. He might be more of a he'd bring these guys back probably. It's Orlando. It's Orlandian cops. Yeah. In the late 80s, he could bring them back to his club bathroom, offer them a line of coke, and there's like an 87 to 99% chance that they'll just take the coke.
I am actually surprised that there isn't a plot point in this, especially because it's an 80s movie about the police being corrupt and in Yashito's pocket.
Yeah.
I think that comes from the worldview of like YK Kim, of like, peace and love and harmony and all this. He's like, no. The police are good guys.
Yeah.
The police wouldn't do that.
They might come across a little incompetent here, but
yeah, but they're not malicious in his view, I would say. So I think that's influencing it, because most 80s movies are like they have a thread of police corruption.
Yeah, there's always the one good cop, embroiled in a harsh and bitter, corrupted system. Although I would, but it would have been curious to see if they had a bit where like, and it would make more sense for me as well in terms of like why Dragon Sound are just sort of, they're like, yeah, we gotta kind of roll with everything. But if the police had shown up and then Dragon Sound were like, yeah, thank God you're here, and then the cops turned on them.
Yes.
And it turns out, no, Jeff's got, he's got his fingerless gloves and all the pies.
And that's the worst way to do it. Oh, no, keep your gloves on. Oh.
Yeah, you come over and you see him like, hey, Brian, and you kind of pats the guy on the shoulder, and then that guy rips off his hot cop's pants, and then there's another kung fu fight between, sorry, I keep saying kung fu, taekwondo fight between YK and a fully functioning policeman as well.
Oh my God, it'd be amazing. He can rip them off and have on tiny little hot pants underneath that afford him more maneuverability.
It's got the deputy sheriff's badge is just dangling from the front of it as well.
Well, it's funny you say that, because of course one of my favorite, again it might technically be a sheriff, characters is Dangle from Reno 911.
Oh yeah.
Good old Dangle. He gets nice snazzy boots in one of the early episodes, and he's doing a little pose with them like that in his tiny hot pants.
That was the thing too, because we knew a guy, because most time in other media portrayals, most cops are usually portrayed as being either corrupt or idiotic and slovenly and sort of out of shape and stuff like that. And then the one cop that we know, who's no longer a cop, but like Doug from Rocky Minutes, from the whole movies, but that guy, he's the kind of guy that if all policemen were like him, I would be terrified. Because like even as a white male, it's like that guy was built like a friggin', he still is, but he's like a man mountain. He's like so terrified. He's
absolutely massive. Yeah, he's huge. He's built. He's a nice guy as well, which I know, again, ACAB. But he's a nice guy. It's the system that's bad, not necessarily the individual. And he's a nice guy, and that's why one of the reasons I think he left, wasn't it? Because
I believe he did.
This is too much.
When all the big scandal kicked off a year or two back, Doug announced his leaving the police force, and now he's working in fitness, I believe. So
yeah, isn't he like a personal trainer, or he works at a gym? And to look at him, you'd be like, this guy's a wrestler.
Yeah, he's
huge.
so terrifying. But
he's not eating donuts every day. Well, maybe he is, but he's working them off.
yeah. These guys, these coppers are pretty svelte themselves. Particularly the guy on the right, he's just like, no, that's why I thought they're like they must be strippers. They're in pretty good. They're in pretty good shape, but no, strippers would definitely be
they're
much
in good shape,
more.
but neither of them have any buns. There's not a lot of squats going on. It's the 80s. I don't know if squats were a big deal.
That's just the weekly update from Ahsoka as it's coming out, as people just now become obsessed with Mary Elizabeth Winstead's ass, which is.
I'll be honest, I've been distracted by it.
I think it's because I'm a big fan of her in general. So I'm kind of like the James Franco and Buster Scruggs thing of head in the noose, looking at people like first time.
I've never noticed her cheeks in this degree.
Well, there was a whole thing in. I think I mentioned it to you at one point as well. Season 3 of Fargo she's in. And there's a bit where to intimidate someone who's broken into her house, and it's got a gun pointed at her as she's in the bathtub. She just stands up because a man confronted with a naked, beautiful woman will just be like, "Whoa."
I mean, I know it's like a silly cartoonish noise you just made, but it's also true.
Yeah. And then the camera goes behind her, so you see it's two Ewan McGregors because he's playing twins in it, and because the two of them looking face on the camera, and it's when the episode aired, I was like, "Oh, this must be a stunt person that brought in," because it's just a bare ass, it's a big, bare ass right in front of your face, and you're just kind of mesmerized by it because it's a naked lady's ass. And then Mary Elizabeth Winstead took to social media to be like, "I didn't do all those squats for nothing," that is 100% me right there.
She looks like someone who wouldn't have a butt.
No, but
she does. Unlike these cops, she's packing.
Yeah. She has Mew got back, I guess. But they threw in a bit of old-fashioned chauvinism there because we were too woke earlier in the episodes. So now we're gonna rate people's asses.
At least when we do it, it's with respect.
Yes, of course.
There's nothing wrong with finding someone attractive.
No, not at all. No.
It's the way you talk about them and treat them and things like this.
No. But speaking of finding people attractive, a guy who is dolled up for a night out. We then cut to God, we've not seen it in a long time. But
5 hours.
yeah. Yashito makes his triumphant return to Miami Connection, and what I thought was a reprise of Escape from Miami kicking in.
It's basically the same.
Where you're just like, yes, that's the same. And he started singing different lyrics, and I was like, wait, what? Oh, that's right, there was another song. I forgot to tell you about that.
And this is one of my favorite songs in the movie. The tough guys, yeah.
But again, though, it does have that same thing of we noted that Friends and Escape the Ninja by Angelo's own admittance. So it's it's the same song rewritten. It's just that's what YK was. And this also feels like the same thing happened there. He's like, I've written a whole other song. And no, I really like that Escape from Miami song that you did earlier. So just apply those lyrics to that same tune, and there you go. So
I hope that is the case, because if it's an accident, then we have to admit that he might not be the best.
No, the thing is, both songs are bangers in their own right, and many bands have you'll get albums or bands where all the songs kind of sound a bit alike and stuff. Whereas because that's the headspace they're in at the time, and they're like, this is kind of you listen to "Meat Is Murder" by the Smiths.
Yeah,
great album.
That's my favorite one of theirs.
But there's a lot of the songs too are kind of I want the one I can't have. And, What She Said and Nowhere Fast are all kind of they're not the same song by any means. They're completely different lyrics, but they have the same kind of vibe and sound because that's just they were written all together, and that's the headspace those guys were in at the time.
It's a fine line to walk because you want to have continuity on an album, so there's a flow and things like that. But you also don't want them to sound the same, which, as much as I love... I don't want to criticize them for this because it's what makes them work. But the Ramones, I love the Ramones. All their songs do sound the same. For them, it works. I don't know how they get away with it. They pull it off. Most other people cannot pull that off.
I think a lot of the 70s punks Or kind of, because it was just the whole, like, 3 chords, you got a song. Like that, I think, and then, obviously they get more progressive and you get into some of the weirder stuff, but like, and then that's, like, it's taken off as a genre. But yeah, a lot of the original, just like, all you need is an electric guitar, a bass player, and a drum kit. And there you go. And it's just like, well, no wonder all the songs sound not the same, but like similar-ish,
But that's what made the good bands then stand out and become successful, I would say, is they brought something to the table. Even though technically what they were doing was the same as their peers, they brought a je ne sais quoi, to the table that then allowed them to grow. And I think maybe you could tell there was an intelligence, a musical intelligence behind it. That they were going to develop and grow. Because, I go and perform at the Rebellion Festival a lot, and it's great. Don't get me wrong. It's the biggest punk festival in the world. It's amazing. But there are a lot of bands there that you're like, fucking hell. They haven't changed their sound once since 1978.
No. Yeah.
And it's like, fucking hell.
Would you rather they remain consistent, or would you rather have, like, you get sometimes like a band that'll... I've seen it with the guy I love, David Byrne, of course, from Talking Heads. He went a whole period in the 90s where he was just doing really out there stuff, and he was like, he grew his hair long, and he was doing acoustic stuff, and he had all these albums he released that were like kind of neither here nor there. And then come mid-2000s, he's back performing all Talking Head songs, and he's kind of looking a bit like he did in the 80s. It's kind of like, I tried a bunch of stuff there, and I tried a whole new sound. It didn't work. So now I'm back, baby. And now I'm back to David Byrne prime, But
I like that. I like that because he tried it.
Yeah.
Whether it worked or not, maybe in retrospect, if you go back, it did work. It just people didn't get it at the time. You know what I mean? Like, one last music thing here about similarities. Because this morning as well, I was studying because I'm doing a course. It's called The History of Rock. Mm-hmm. And it is with the University of Rochester, New York. And the lecturer was talking about 2 songs, because this was back in, 1967. 66, 67. I think it was 66, the first one. Now, the band Love did the song My Little Red Book, which just by that name, I was like, oh, God, is it going to be misogynist? And the first lyrics, you think it is. And the twist is, it's not. He can't get over it. Because basically, this woman dumps him. He gets out his little red book. He's like, yeah, I went out with every girl in town, every girl in this book. But all I could talk about was you. It's like, what a great twist. But the point is, I'm not sure if he's the manager of Pink Floyd or someone they were very close to, told them about this song, but back then it was like next to impossible to bring records over and things. Like, you couldn't hear music from abroad. Yeah. So he told them about how great this song was and hummed them it. So they did a song, Interstellar Overdrive, and the start of that is their interpretation of his humming of the Love song. So it's wrong because they couldn't quite get it right. They're like, I think that's how it goes.
That's probably like a good thing though. It's like, well, otherwise that could have been a big legal snafu as well. I was like, well, you can't sue someone for like copying a misremembered humming. Like,
it made me think of the show Dark Place, based on melodies originally whistled.
I really wish that was the case with like what like YK Kim is everything. It's like, no, do it like dun 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 dun. Angela. I don't think that's the same thing though, because that is the same thing in that, because I went and checked. And Escape from Miami also does just have the dun, 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 dun.
There's a formula and it works. Dragon Sound, if we can call this Dragon Sound, I suppose, well, it's not really, but they are basically the Ramones.
Yeah. Although weirdly, that kind of riff though, the dun, 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 that just makes me think of Planet Claire by the B-52s.
One of their best songs, underrated. You never hear it played like in clubs and stuff. It's always Rock Lobster and bloody Love Shack.
Yeah. Those are the B-52s have so many amazing songs. But then they're always going to strike you as like, they're a lot more sort of weirdly atmospheric and like stranger than you think in terms of, the big beehive hairdos and stuff like that. But like no strange, and they're kind of like, it's not all party time with them, But,
great band.
Yeah. But it's just, then I just wanted to hear Dragon Sound's cover of Planet Claire.
Oh my God! If we hit the guys up on like Twitter, X, I think we could get them to do it.
Like, go for the Angelo himself and be like, now's the time to revive it, man.
I think at the
and
end
they'd be
of
like,
the
oh,
season,
you want to book us to play a gig? No, I want you to do a cover of Planet Claire by the B-52s. I was like, are you going to pay me? No. We'll be crazy.
We'll put it on our podcast.
Yeah.
Your fans will hear it.
And we'll just show off the fact that we puppeteered you into doing whatever we want.
I don't think he'll come on after we insulted his clothing.
No.
We'll try.
And they'll be like, oh yeah, we talked about it like 30 weeks ago. What was that stupid thing with clothes powered by sweat or something? Like, what was?
They were magic clothes. They blocked out like, I don't know, what was it, 5G rays?
Yeah, there was something. I remember some. Because Angelo, unfortunately, his Facebook feed was. I must go back and see what he's been up to lately because it was very old man, classic, what they would call a boomer kind of page nowadays.
I'm unfortunately getting a bit of this now because, again, through the band, a lot of people who come to punk gigs obviously are a bit older these days. There's young people, but you get a lot of old punks, and they add you to Facebook because they go, oh look, that's the dancer from the band, and they add you. And I'm a fool, I accept them because I'm trying to be nice, right?
No, totally, yeah.
Some of them, fucking hell, boomers. I have blocked a couple.
Yeah.
No, I haven't said anything. I've just got rid of them because you'll just start a fight. It's like, but it's do I still follow Angelo on there? I think I do for purposes of the podcast, but I haven't seen him pop up.
That's I remember it struck me that he didn't update all that often. So unless he's got like a new sweat powered suit to
which okay, we make fun of the suit, but if he's trying to make a bit of money, that's post.
Yeah, but at the same time, that like I know people like our age who have just their Facebook feed is just them trying to sell whatever crap, and it's just like you look at them and they're like, you can't be in the same generation of me and not realize that that's all a scam.
That's
like,
true. That's true.
I seen someone I know one day, someone I used to kind of sort of went out with back when we were teenagers. And she's all doing these things now, like forwarding on the things of like, oh, you can make 500 quid within one. But even that, it wasn't even 500 quid, it was $500. And it's like, and I was thinking maybe, her account's been hacked or something. But no, she had set up little things previous to that and invited me to them where it was all the same kind of stuff. It's all like, I stay at home all day. And so I'll have to try to make little bits of money. And so what I'm doing now is basically scamming people because I myself have been scammed into doing this. Like,
well, that's the thing. I don't fault anyone wanting to make a bit of money. Absolutely not. Because everyone needs a bit of money. But it's the scamming aspect, which is wrong. And B, like, how do I word it? I'm trying to be nice. So the scamming is bad. But also... No, it's going to sound too harsh, but it's all bullshit at the end of the day. It is bullshit, and nobody wants it, and it's bullshit. Yeah. There's no way any of this is true. And no, actually, you know what? I don't care if it sounds harsh. I am going to say it. You're not an entrepreneur. They always put entrepreneur in their profile. You're not.
No,
you're not a business person. I'm sorry. like we have this podcast. We make a little bit of money that covers the fee. We're not business people. If it actually started making actual money, maybe.
Yeah.
If we made thousands a week.
I just remember one time though when I was unemployed, and there was like there would be jobs that were basically like commission-based door-to-door salespeople.
No, they post all over the job sites, and it's a fucking nuisance.
Yeah, but the thing is, I remember going to see like an employment, consultant or agent or whatever, and she started trying to go like, "Well, I think you've got the gift of the gab. I think you could. And I was like, that commission, like, get the hell out. Are you tied into this now or something? Like, no, I'm not doing commission-based sales. Jesus, I'm going to jump off a freaking cliff to do that. But
no, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. And the employment agencies as well, like, that's how they operate. It's a weird one because they have got me work before when I needed jobs, But they will tell you anything you want to hear to get you to go to that temporary position because they get money out of it. They get a direct commission because they got you the thing. So they'll bullshit you. I've given them specific demands like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, blah, blah. And they send me anyway. and you turn up and you can't do the fucking job. It's like, yeah, I told them I couldn't do that.
It's like, everything's a scam. Everything, you know what everything is? It's criminal. And speaking of criminals, let's get back to Tough Guys on Miami Connection.
I've written down some lyrics I particularly liked.
The lyrics to this one.
Beautiful. Chef's kiss. Mwah.
There's no gold, like, steal all your cocaine along with your life. I think maybe Angelo, he peaked with some of the lyrics there.
It's more nuanced now. This is a nuanced song. There's layers to it. I especially liked, I love it when I game like no other man, because I got the flame and I'm a tough guy. When things are getting rough and you've had enough, you need the right stuff to be a tough guy. When you're alone and life is getting you, you can always go to some Tough Guys. Yeah. Doesn't it sound like a wrestling theme?
It sounded to me just more like blatantly very homoerotic, this song to me. So again, maybe that makes it inherently a bit like a wrestling theme.
Yeah, exactly, right? It made me think of the old WCW tag team, the American Males. I think I've probably played you their theme song, where it just keeps going American Males over and over, but then it's like, they're irresistible, they're unpredictable American Males. Yeah. It's so absurd, and it's going on about how, like, you better run for cover, but it's like singing to a woman. It's like, oh, they're gonna get you. It's like, that's fucking weird.
That might be like, years later, like, wait a minute. I think we might have to, like, look into the career of, much like friggin' as with the current scandal du jour is all the Russell Brand stuff. And it's just like, that guy who seemed really sleazy with people years ago, turns out he was really sleazy. Like,
what? Nah.
So it's like, he says he didn't do any of this stuff. It's like, yeah, but he was also off his head on heroin a lot of the time. You sure he just doesn't remember doing it? It's like,
I mean, yeah, that's the thing, right? I'm not defending him in any way, because obviously terrible. But that probably is part of it. He probably doesn't remember it.
No.
Well, American Males, even though he's English. Well, this is like, I've just remembered one of the lines now. It goes, when you see them coming, you better run for cover. Girls, you don't need a weekend lover. American Males.
But you don't need a weekend lover. Is it like, oh, they're going to stick around indefinitely? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, in a weird way, if they were singing about being your weekend lover, that would make more sense.
That's like, yeah, we're coming around, we're shacking around with American Males going all over the country. But this is more like, yeah, get ready, baby, because I'm going to get into a long-term committed relationship with you.
I'm going to love you and respect you. Oh,
yeah,
I'm an American male.
I hope you like the ring, because it's coming your way.
Jesus Christ. Oh, they were so good. Buff Bagwell was one of them. I loved Buff Bagwell so much.
Buff Bagwell.
He was a god. I loved him.
But so many of the guys riding the bikes, too, look like they could be wrestlers from the 80s.
Well. Would you like me to reveal something from the commentary track about these bikers?
Oh, don't tell me, like, Boss Man or someone's in here.
No, it's not that good. It's not that good. But Joseph Diamond in the commentary track says that they used real bikers.
Uh-huh.
This is a real biker gang. They're not actors. They're just a bunch of... That's why the party scene's coming up. They're real.
Yeah.
That's just them partying. And Joseph Diamond said how using real bikers made this scene and the party scenes realistic and authentic, and says that it rivals anything that has ever been shot. That's quite a claim.
It was like, rivals it in what context?
Realism? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if I have the energy to get into how many notes I have on that.
Rivals anything that has ever been shot. There is exact words from the commentary track.
I mean, maybe in terms of like footage of people on bikes. Yeah. A lot of it is competently shot, I'll give him that. But
yeah, I think he's just for believability. And maybe if he is going that angle, you can't really argue with him, because it's like, well, they are real. So so it is believable because they're real.
I kind of like speaking of the Rolling Stones, I kind of like in the back of my head of like, this didn't turn into like an Altamont scenario where they hired a real life biker gang and like, oh yeah, they killed like half the crew and stuff. Like it got insanely violent. It was one of the worst. Right? It rivaled the worst massacres in Central Florida history.
Well, that's why when he said that the party, I don't want to talk too much about that because obviously we don't really get it yet. But the party scenes of the bikers. When he took, I thought, oh no, like that's a real party. That's them just getting rowdy. Did they make you film this? Did they say you are fucking filming this and you're putting this in your fucking movie?
I mean, the kind of thing like that would be the time where like all the posturing would go out of people and everyone just be looking to YK Kim. It's like, if anyone's going to be able to take care of this, it's going to be you, man. Like,
I would be worried, and I don't want to paint everyone with the same brush, tar. But you brought up the Rolling Stones again. There, like. I would be concerned here if I was this film crew. Like, I mean, there's a bad reputation, right?
Yeah, 100. Like, if anyone ever pitched to me, like, oh, we're going to go hire an actual biker gang, unless they're out in the weekends, like, biking for sick children or something, I'm going to assume it's like, that's a bad idea. Like, not just from the specter of Altamont, but just been like, well, how many of them they're going to be? They're going to outnumber you, and if they just get rowdy, you don't know how. You're just introducing an insanely chaotic element into something. When you got enough guys for extras, like YK Kim's friends with everybody. Just go out and get some normal, or maybe you couldn't get the. Actually, budget wise, it probably was like we can't rent bikes for people
and pay for them to learn, maybe.
Pay for them to learn, and also not everybody has a leather jacket, and that's a kind of prerequisite with us, I guess.
Oh, they're not cheap. Leathers aren't cheap.
No. So it might be like the only thing. Maybe YK is just like this was his hubris was just like if they try anything, or maybe it's like a prison thing where like when you go in and you're supposed to like take the biggest baddest guy in the yard down. Maybe YK came into like their biker den. Did the Taekwondo move on like the lead guy, and now everyone's like, we adhere to your rules, YK.
Maybe, yeah, established dominance. Like
we're so sorry, YK, and then he just looks at them and goes, Grandmaster Kim.
Oh,
and like, of course, Grandmaster Kim, yes.
I would have loved it if they talked about how they gave Kim an honorary patch, for his jacket.
Yeah. Oh, well, it'd be great if there was just like, there was the riding dragon sounds or something around there. Like they made them like an honorary sect or something.
The dragons. Yeah, fuck yeah. That'd be awesome. They could have dragons painted on the bikes.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been a progression of like, had there been a franchise, you could have then had like, maybe Dragon Sound inspires like a vigilante biker group.
Yeah.
That are like heroes, and they drive around and all their bikes are painted like dragons and stuff, and then it's like it's got that thing of like, but Dragon Sound are like, but we didn't go around to enforce the law, what's going on here, we were just guys but the legend of them has now inspired this whole big thing and stuff. But no, again though, some of the like, no wonder this thing got popular in in modern internet culture when it's boasting things like, I love it when I game. And there's like a bunch of Reddit guys are like, yes, I also love to game. Yeah, that's my
I'm a gamer. Gamers are the most oppressed people.
Yeah, but I'm assuming they're talking about like game as in I got game.
Yeah,
I'm suave and cool and could go around shagging notes at people and stuff like that.
Exactly, got game.
I don't remember why that really bugged me. Like I think it was because it didn't actually bug me. It was just like, this is like the most overtly cheesy part of a very cheesy movie. But in the trailer for Fast 10, when they introduced like Brie Larson's character, and then they had to have Letty go like, game recognizes game, just to be established that you knew she was cool because Letty was like, oh, I'm cool, therefore she must be cool, so game recognizes game. I don't know why I remember
about that line.
This really bugged me in the trailer. It shouldn't have bugged me because it's like, this is what the Fast movies are. But it was like, that's almost over the line cheesy of like, we need to quickly convey that like she now has a respect for her because she can like beat up loads of guys or whatever, which is basically what the purpose the line serves in the movie, as I recall. So yeah, but yeah, as I say, the lyrics go on. Yeah, there is an interpretation where like, this is a bunch of guys hanging out, going around doing guy stuff, and they're all, some of them are topless, some of them are in leather vests. They're all just, straddling their hogs and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and then,
they've got something big between their legs.
Yeah, one of them's wearing a very snazzy ascot, and then you got lyrics like, "When things are getting rough and you've had enough, you need the right stuff to be a tough guy."
Yeah, it's talking about being a power bottom.
It's so like they just needed a few more leather Marlon Brando hats in this to be like, this should be a gay anthem, quite frankly, tough guys. Maybe the community doesn't know about it. Maybe we should be going out there going, guys, this is your new anthem. Like,
it'd be big on like the leather scene, maybe with the bears.
Yeah.
Things like that. Wouldn't work for like the twinks, but it would work with like, the leather heads and things.
I'm trying to come up with some scenario where Yashito goes into like a shop and is just like, I need something that says, Dad likes leather. Or something that says Leather Daddy.
That's one of the greatest things in Arrested Development. I love that.
I think that's quite early on too. I remember that being like one of the jokes. Was like, "Oh, that's it. Now I know this is going to be one of the greatest shows ever made."
Leather Daddy, because he's trying to be cool. Like, yeah, that's cool. Dad wears leather.
I need to go to the Gothic castle, the Gothic castle. That's what I said.
Holy shit!
But yeah, so there's I do. There's just so many things in like all this B-roll footage that they're just obviously taking. It's all obviously done on the same day they did Escape from Miami. And you can tell because they're obviously there for friggin' hours because the light changes so damn much. Like, there's times where it's like, it's clearly dusk now. They've got the friggin' headlamps on the bikes. Yeah. And then the next shot is broad daylight, the sun scorching down the tarmac.
Well, you are not wrong. They are shot in 2 different locations, which they bring up in the commentary track. The initial part, where you see the with the water there, that is in Miami. Mm-hmm. And then the trees, the scorching sunshine one is in Orlando. So completely separate. You are not wrong. I'm impressed you noticed that. I actually didn't. Maybe I'm just blind to it now because we've been through so much of this movie. I didn't notice till he brought it up, and I was like, "Wait a second."
I think I just had like an internal concern because I know that they're bikers by day, ninjas by night.
Oh, they like transform like a werewolf.
Like, the sun's going down, guys. You got.
Oh shit! I would love that.
You just see like all of a sudden there's like their gis just started materializing on them, like
it just bursts out of their flesh.
That's the thing. I've been rewatching the old cartoon Gargoyles on Saturdays because it's like,
yes.
Oh no, well they technically, I don't know if they want to be known as a species as gargoyles, but they refer to themselves as gargoyles. So I'm like, well, who am I to debate?
Yeah, self-identified. That's okay.
Yeah, and maybe they do have a spout somewhere. I don't know. I haven't been through their entire anatomy. The show's not gotten into it yet. But the one thing that it's a great show. It actually is as good as it stands up as well as people say it does. But the one thing that really bugs me is that like they have established this rule that like, oh yeah, the gargoyles can only come out at night, and during the day they turn to stone. And every single episode that comes into play, and every time they come out of being stone, they have to do the whole big like the score swells, and it takes ages, and you're like wasting like 40 seconds.
Well, they're probably reusing the same animation.
Well, actually, that's what you would assume, but no, it's usually all done in different ways.
Really?
So it always feels like, is it just padding for the episodes? Because, like, these have to be 22 minutes, so they'll take up 40 seconds. Is like, them bursting out in the same... It's always the same bit of music that plays, but then it's just like, I know that they come to life at night, and, then, because one of the dated things in it is that there's the heavy set gargoyle. Every time he's like, what's for breakfast? And you're like, oh, because he likes to eat. And it's the one thing that's getting to me watching it like consistently. It's like every episode there has to be some bit of like they're out doing something, but like, oh no, the sun's coming up. I was like, why don't you start things earlier in the night then? Like every time you come out there, it seems to be like 15 minutes from dawn. Like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, they're not planning well.
No. So that was my concern. Is just like, yeah, they're going to gargoyle. It's going to be a gargoyle scenario now where they're just going to be the bikes will vanish and there'll just be a load of like sprinting ninjas going down the freeway.
Like, don't you dare gargle on my ass.
And then every morning they have the bit where like the geese melt away and the bikers emerge and they're like, ah!
The leather bursts out of their skin then. Jesus.
Oh yeah, somehow the geese get like they're tanned, so they turn into like leather.
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell. Well, actually, speaking of the bikes, did you find out what bikes these are? Because I tried to look on the Internet Car Movie Database. Yes, I know it's for cars, people, but they have bikes too. And they listed a few, and I don't think they're right. Because
I didn't. The only one that took real note of me, because there's so many, was there's one that looked, and this is entirely from Terminator 2. There's one that looked way like a police bike to me.
Oh, the one with the big bit at the front.
Yeah, the big bit at the front is all painted white. It almost made it feel like this was an old cop bike they had. Or maybe the guy, because it's a guy wearing a very T-1000 in cop, biker cop gear kind of thing. Maybe this guy was a cop. Maybe this was the security they had. Like, we hired this biker gang. Get a cop to come down and just be like...
That would be great. But that is a type of bike. Like, that is... I believe a touring bike, which the name is a clue. It's so they're more comfortable. You can travel long distances. They've got like a box where you can put things in it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Which is why the police use them, because, they might be on them all day. They might have to put things in the box. Stuff like that. Makes sense. So that one, okay, I was on board with that. It's a tourer. But Yashito's, unless I'm misreading, it seems to list it as a Yamaha XS400 Special 2. But it clearly says Kawasaki on it. It's written on the fucking thing. So what? Either the website is laid out by a moron, or everyone on the website is a moron.
There's another thing, like maybe he rode the other bike during Escape from Miami.
It shows this picture.
It shows this exact picture? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess they just got that wrong. Like, there's no excuse for that.
But then again, that's why I'm saying maybe the website's laid out bad, right? Because there's that many bikes, as you say. It could be one of the others, and they're just using that picture. But if you look second 21, Kawasaki. There's no debating that says Kawasaki. And when I've paused on other people's, they all seem to fucking say Kawasaki.
Yeah.
Except for the Taurus, because I can't really see what they are. There's two of those. There's a black one and a white one.
Do you think maybe it's because the turtles were big at the time and everyone was saying Cowabunga? Kawasaki!
That should have become the phrase. Because where the hell did Cowabunga come from? Yes, I know it's surfers, but why did they say it?
Oh, no, we had a whole thing in Batman and Robin about
I know, but it's stupid.
Cowabunga. Yeah,
it's dumb.
It's got a racist background because it was from... It was one of those old Western TV shows. Like,
I can't remember which one.
It was a show for kids. I would say Western. It was like a guy who used to dress up as a cowboy. It was like a Woody's Roundup kind of scenario. And there used to be a white guy dressed as a Native American. And one of his things was like they made up gibberish for him to say.
That was it. Yeah.
And one of them was Cowabunga. But it wasn't even quite Cowabunga. It was like he said like Cowachunga or something like that. And then kids who grew up on that went on to be surfers in the 60s.
What? This is what I don't understand, though. Where's the connection? How did the surfers get... I can't wrap my head around it.
I think it was just like they were just making reference to it. They were just like... There would have just been... Someone observed surfers at one point, and they had a little in-joke where they all said this reference back to an old show they used to watch. True. And then it just spiraled into like people being like, "Oh yeah, this curve they're always shouting Cowabunga." And then when the people, the news reporters are talking about it, and then it just spirals into like that's what surfers say and stuff. So
yeah, maybe. And I suppose in my head, I'm thinking of surfers as we think of them now, where they're a little bit, they're like stoners essentially. They're a little bit weirdos. They're like left wing not left wing, but they're open minded. They are more. Multicultural and things like that. And yes, they steal things from other cultures, but not in a nasty way. So in my head, they wouldn't watch a show like that did that. But back then...
Well, back then, it was just like you're a little kid. And
you're a little
watching,
kid.
You don't know that it's like, oh, this will be problematic in 60 years.
And it was the norm at the time. To be... Like, nobody thought of it really as problematic, I assume. They would have been like, yeah, it's just a TV show.
I mean, probably within the people doing the hiring, they're like, should we hire a Native American guy? No. Because probably racist is the issue.
Absolutely, yeah. It comes from racism. But the people watching it and then maybe referencing it, they are doing it because of racism, but not because they're racist.
Yeah.
It's a weird, that's weird, isn't it?
Although it's a thing with it's one of the best TV shows on at the minute. It's actually coming to an end next week. But is Reservation Dogs, which is...
Oh, yeah, I still haven't watched it. In a weird way, I'm glad it's coming to an end so I can just binge the whole thing.
Oh, it's an incredible show. No, it's a I think Taika Waititi kind of, his name's plastered all over it in terms of like, this will get people to watch it kind of thing. But I don't think he has all that much to do with it, quite frankly. There's a little bit of the kind of tonal stuff. It's like, that does feel a little bit like some of his stuff.
Is it one of those where he came up with the concept and then let other people run with it, kind of?
No, because I think it's very personal to the people. Like a Sterling Harjo, I think you call the guy who's properly like the guy who made it, and it's because it's about teenage Native Americans living on a reservation. It feels very much like he came up with the idea. Probably pitched it to probably friends with Taika Waititi, and Taika was like, "Oh yeah, it would be. That is a good show." Yeah.
So you think he's more like really he's the producer?
Yeah, he's the guy there going like, I think this is a good idea, and because I'm quite successful, you should all listen to me, and that's probably got them the money kind of thing.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that's tough, isn't it? Because you could say that's using your power in a sort of nepotistic way, but at the same time, if you're not going to help lift other people's voices up, who the fuck else is going to do it?
Yeah. So. And plus, too, like the studios can still say no to him. You can come in and pitch this, like, we've come up with this concept, me and my friend, of this thing, and the studios could be still like, nope, we don't care, Taika. If we're not doing that. So
yeah, that's true. And
they obviously saw something in it themselves, And
it's not like there's loads and loads and loads of Native American shows out there. So good on you. Yeah, use your power for good.
Yeah, although there is another show, because when I was back home with my dad, we were watching a show called Dark Winds, which is a Native American cop show. Oh, okay. And two of the cast members from Reservation Dogs are also in that, because I guess it is just like, there's not many of us, and there's not many shows about Native American people, so the ones for sure are Native American are going to be in this one and stuff.
It's depressing, but that's always been the case, hasn't it? I mean, I loved seeing this. But it says it all that, you watch Twin Peaks and you've got Deputy Hawk. Mm-hmm. And then you watch The X-Files.
Yes, we need a Native American guy.
Yeah. Who's a big Native American actor at the time? Oh, there's the one.
Yeah. And throughout the whole show, it is literally like, every single Native American actor you know is like that. You remember that guy from Die Hard with a Vengeance? He's in it. Yeah. All the cast of The Last of the Mohicans, they're all in it.
Well, that's the thing. We're laughing because it's sort of funny, but it's funny in a tragic way.
Yeah, it's like Amber Midthunder from Prey. From Prey, was in Legion beforehand. I remember sitting like, it's weird that she's not in this so far. And then, nope, she's in season 2. Don't worry, they get to her.
There you go.
But the reason I brought it up, though, is that there's terminology they use in Reservation Dogs, and I'm fascinated to know if, like, cowabunga is not actually a Native American phrase. They made some white guy made that up.
Yeah, of course.
But like throughout Reservation Dogs, the insult they always use is shit ass. And they're always like, you goddamn shit ass. And like they say it all the time. And not just the Native Americans, but like the white people say it too.
Oh, okay.
And I'm kind of like watching it going like, is it a regional thing? The people in this area say it.
I love it.
Is it a Native American slang, or is it just slang to like the guy who wrote the show? Is like, oh, we used to call people shit asses all the time, and like, so I'm bringing that forward and stuff. But like, and there's a little thing I'm assuming must be, it'll have to be like a cultural thing, because like, they'll do certain little sounds in terms of like joy. So when someone does something good, they'll go badoo, and like that kind of thing. And like, oh, that must be from that's a Native American thing to do. But shit asses, I'm just like. Which angle is this coming from here? Because now I want to say shit ass all the time, but it's also just like, is it just it's set in Virginia and they say shit ass in Virginia, or they only say it on Indian reservations?
Oh, so you want to make sure you're not like appropriating something? Okay.
Well, but to make sure as well. But then another thing you really learn as well is that like. They never say Native American. They always say Indian as well. Like, it's a big thing with them. I was like, no.
Interesting.
It's like, I think it might be like, black people with the N-word kind of thing. It's like, no, we're taking it back. We're owning. We're making it our thing. And like, they always say Indian. They never say. They'll have the episode with Amber Midthunder. She comes in as like, kind of a college student who's trying to do a lot for like Native American rights. And it's kind of making fun of her because she keeps talking about the indigenous peoples and all this other stuff. And she gets up, it goes way too far into hippy dippy crap, where everyone else is sitting kind of rolling their eyes at it and going like, oh my God, because you keep on saying, we have to thank the people who brought us to this land. And then, of course, the fish that came out of the ocean that crawled up onto the land first. And she just keeps going back and back and back and stuff. So, but yeah, that's obviously all going to be through the lens of the people making the show, and they're the only people who will know, who would answer. Yeah. I should just maybe just go to Twitter and be like,
just tweet them.
Yeah, shit ass, is that a thing that like your family said, or like what is this like? Because phrases like my things I've heard on that my people in my town come out with all the time that are then like. I always just think, oh, maybe it's an Irish thing, and it's like, no, I think it's very specific to just this area kind of thing. And you always end up, you realize then it's like, no, you're never gonna get that representation out in the world too, because nobody knows that people in this specific street will say this stuff.
That's why you make a TV show about your street.
Yeah, there you go. That's why the big revelation of Derry Girls, because that came out like. I live up the road from, or I used back when I was in Ireland, you lived up the road from Derry. And so most of the joy of that show to me was just hearing things like Boke. And is
that like a Derry thing? That's not an Irish thing.
No, I think that is just an Irish thing, but it's just like, you never hear that said. Or like, oh, I'm only codding you. To mean I'm only joking, as I'm codding you. Is
codding.
Like, okay. Codding, yeah, like the fit. And it's just like, you never heard it on TV before, so that was like, oh my God, someone's actually said Boke on TV. This is crazy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But anyhow,
yes.
Tough guys.
I have a couple of things before I get to my favorite bit, other than the lyrics. This is another question, did you manage to figure out what this guy's shirt was, right? It says early nostalgia. But EARLEY, so not early it says early nostalgia. So I was like, well, what the fuck is that? Couldn't find anything on it.
Is this which second are we on here?
This is, go to second 26.
Second.
There's clearly something else underneath that. There's either a symbol or more words. I couldn't make it out anywhere. I suppose it could say Farley, but it looks like early to me.
Yeah. Farley Nostalgia. Maybe that's his name. He's just like, a name as cool as Farley Nostalgia. You're damn right. I'll put it on a t-shirt.
That would be awesome. I'm going to try that search now. I think it's early, though, if you look. Let's see. No, that just brings up Chris Farley Nostalgia.
Well, maybe this guy knew in advance. He's like,
he was trying to warn us.
I don't think there's many years left for Chris Farley. But
I don't want to be controversial because obviously, sad anybody's dead. Never found him funny.
Well, I didn't really see a lot of his stuff, to be fair.
No. Well, it was never a thing over here, anything he did, was it? But whenever I've checked it out, I think because he's from that whole SNL thing, I was just like, nope.
Yeah.
No.
I remember like Black Sheep been like making a bit of an impact, but then he's in. I keep wanting to say he's in Wayne's World. But then he's very similar to Meatloaf. He looks very similar to Meatloaf, and I know Meatloaf's in there. But is Chris Farley, is he not the guy who's like at the club? And then he's telling them like where Mr. Big's limo is going. And he keeps doing that kind of like, he's going to go from here to here. And he does like these very emphatic kind of things with his hands and stuff.
You're right, I've looked it up. Yeah, that is him.
Yeah. I think then Meatloaf's also in the movie, right? Or maybe he's in the second one. Maybe they replaced Chris Farley with Meatloaf because they're like...
Chris Farley is in 2.
He's in 2. Okay.
I don't know if he's in what... I'm trying to look at his filmography. I think he's in both.
Okay.
It's not... Why is it not bringing it up?
Okay, I'll just have to watch both Wayne's World movies again to make sure.
What a shame.
I'll take that bullet for the crew, all right?
Well, is there a Wayne's World minute?
No, there was talk of a Wayne's World minute, and I don't think it ever came to fruition. It was because I remember talking to Johnny Powers about it, because it was like, well, you did Austin Powers, Mike Myers' one of his other big things was Wayne's World, and she was like, no, never again, kind of thing. So, but I think she was also like, no, there's been people talking about doing it, so it just seems a shame that it didn't come to fruition. It would be a lot of fun doing.
It would, and I've just looked up for you. He is in both, definitely.
He's definitely in both, and then is Meatloaf in either? Maybe it was Chris Farley the whole time, and I thought it was Meatloaf.
Meatloaf is as well.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's probably maybe could be from like shot to shot. They're changing them, and I never picked it up.
Did you see the last thing that Chris Farley did?
No, what did he do?
He voiced in a short. This was before the movie. He was the voice of Shrek.
Oh wow! Oh no, I did hear. Yeah, because I think he was when Shrek was in development. It was always going to be him. Like it was
That's mad.
It was a character created with Chris Farley in mind, and then like the animation takes that long to do. It was years later before Shrek became like a thing. I think Mike Myers stepped in to kind of like he was on SNL with him, so it was like,
That's mad. Holy shit! I mean, good on you, Mike Myers, for filling in for your friend. That's awesome. That's
awesome. It was an entirely selfless act of Mike Myers. He hasn't made millions upon millions from the Shrek franchise at all.
He didn't know that when he stepped in. Okay, he didn't know it was going to be so big.
And another opportunity to do that's terrible Scottish accent he keeps trying to force into things.
Yeah, I love you, Mike Myers, but you can't do a very good Scottish accent.
This is weird.
It's acceptable, but it's not good.
It's weird that's the one that he keeps going for, because it's in So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, Austin Powers with, Fat Bastard. And then, oh no, I'm going to keep it going. I'll do it again.
And it's like, Mike, you've done enough with it. Come on. It's not great.
Unless he does, he was also part of the early nostalgia crew. He knew the Shrek was going to be huge, so he's like, I'm going to do this accent that everybody hates and everyone makes fun of me for, but I'm going to attach it to like the biggest franchise of the early 2000s, and then I'm going to cement my reputation as having a great Scottish accent. I was like, no, dude, it's always been terrible, and it was terrible throughout all those movies as well.
Kind of got to respect the way he just sticks with it anyway, though. Like, you know what? I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So my only other thing really, before I do my favourite bit, is Yashito's got a shirt on as well, which I also couldn't quite make out. I could see that it was clearly a martial arts championship of some sort.
Oh.
So if any listeners can sort of decipher what the championship is, then I would be very grateful. I've tried my best, a million different Google searches. Very difficult to know what to put in.
Yeah, yeah. Although it's just Yashito as a character, he doesn't strike me as the competition guy. Like
absolutely not. No.
He has that vibe of like as a character, he would be like, oh, trained in a temple in the mountains, and he's like very hardcore, and there's no like, oh, you can win a trophy if you do that. Like he doesn't. No, he's a guy who's like summoning fire when he freaking chops bricks into and stuff. Like he unless he tore it from like a victim or something, like, or some challenger came up to him and is like, "What? Now he's down and gone."
I know why you're thinking all of this, right? Because he has the vibes of Shang Tsung.
100%, yeah. I said that was an ascot earlier. That's another thing. He just tore that guy out of the guy's shirt. That's not even his leather jacket. There's some other assholes.
Your soul is mine.
I don't really believe in the concept of a soul. No, Yashito, like, all right, then your shoes are mine. Give them over.
Your ascot is mine. No.
I was remembering. I don't think I brought it up on Batman. It was one of the things that we've also been looking into. If people don't know, as of recording this, we're also recording our season on Mask of the Phantasm, the Batman movie for Batman. And in that, obviously, has Mark Hamill as the Joker. And so I've been listening to a lot of Mark Hamill interviews, and he talked about the time he met Bob Kane, who is like the quote-unquote creator of Batman.
Yeah.
And everyone nowadays, everyone agrees that Bob Kane's a freaking, money-grubbing asshole who didn't create barely anything to do with Batman and just stole all the credit. And Mark Hamill, in that vein, is like, I didn't like him. He seemed like a complete tool. But he went to like a dinner party that he was at, and one of his big notes was like, this was 1995, and he was wearing an ascot. Like, what kind of an asshole shows up in an ascot? Like, what? This isn't the 60s. Like, what are you doing, man? But
I kind of love it.
But at the same time, he said like it struck him, and this is probably a thing we'll get into like next season of Batman. It struck Mark Hamill that he was he was trying to attain the vibes of Adam West's Bruce Wayne. He was basically dressed the way Adam West would dress when he wasn't Batman, kind of thing. So either they based Adam West's Batman on Bob Kane's appearance, or Bob Kane got so into, I'll create a Batman vibe, I am Bruce Wayne, and so just started cosplaying as his own quote-unquote own character. But yeah, people tune in to Batman at next season, Batman at 66. We might yet decipher that very question.
Well, I just love the way, the thought there that they might have based it on him. Oh.
But also like to Mark Hamill saying like go into a dinner party and Yashito happens to be there. He's like, "What kind of an asshole wears an ascot in 1995?" Yashito just like ripping his jaw off. Like,
hey, as someone who not regularly but sometimes wears spats, you must appreciate the classiness of the ascot.
I'm not Mark Hamill. I'm not gonna stand by when he says this stuff, But although I used to always wear cravats and stuff, but I always like to do it in a kind of unruly way, where I wouldn't tuck them in and kind of have them hanging out and stuff.
Yeah, it was a bit punky with the cravat.
Yeah, and I remember my friend Rachel back in university. She fancied herself a bit of a dandy herself, and she every time she's like, "Oh, for God's sake, I'm gonna come over and like." So I don't have like a waistcoat on, but a shirt underneath, and the shirt would be untucked, and she would over like, tuck that in your goddamn trousers. What are you doing? And then
don't try and change me, baby.
Yeah. Then the ascot was always no, or the cravat was always no. So I always had a thing of like, who are you to tell me how to wear this stuff?
Yeah.
And that's the way you're supposed to wear them and stuff. But
well, you know what? Doesn't matter what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
You're a tough guy.
One thing that the last note I have. Is that in looking up the lyrics to Tough Guys, the thing I do like to do sometimes when a song comes up in any of the movies we're covering is go to YouTube and to look at the comment section to see what people have to say about it.
Oh God, why have I not thought of doing this?
Well, the unfortunate thing about Miami Connection is I'm sure you can get versions of it elsewhere that other people have loaded, but the comment section is turned off for the official soundtrack thing. But what did strike me is that, like, there is clear favoritism amongst the fans over what songs are, regarded as, like, the best. Because you go in here, like, the list is, in terms of YouTube views, Escape from Miami, 7.6 thousand. Which isn't much, considering it's friggin'...
Oh.
Yeah. So then, Friends... 94,000, which is much better, and what a massive gap! Like that's a leap of like what friggin' like 82,000 views or something. Like that's crazy.
That's nuts.
Like 85,000. But I am terrible at math, so I do apologize. Against the Ninja is 65,000.
Nice showing, respectful.
Yeah. And then ironically enough. Tough Guys, also 7.6 thousand. So the exact same people, the exact same amount of people have listened to Tough Guys and Escape from Miami as if they're going like, is this just the same song? What the hell's going on?
Yeah, doing a comparison. Every single person has done that.
Which is also what I was doing as well. I was like, I know we talked about Escape from Miami, but it was like months and months and months ago. So I had to go.
So all of those were actually you. It was on zero before you came along.
But no, I was just so surprised to be like, that's and also too, even like it's a 30,000 gap between Friends and Against the Ninja. It's like, I guess Friends is by far the most popular song of the movie, which is I mean I get it, but it's also like I don't really get it because they're all bangers. Like what?
They're all bangers, and I might say Against the Ninja's my favorite.
Well, I mean, we did spend like 5 years covering that song. So
exactly.
Some days I feel that we're still recording those Against the Ninja minutes, and the rest of my life has been but a dream of getting past them.
In a way, won't we be doing that forever? My final note is, as I keep teasing, it's one of my favorite bits of the entire movie, and I've never noticed it before. Right? What the fuck is Yashito doing with his head?
Oh,
is he getting bugs in his face? Is there too much wind? Is he having a stroke?
No, like I forgot. I had notes about that as well. Because it does strike you. Because he's going along very chilled, and then it really feels like a fly must have come at him or something.
He has got in his mouth or something.
Because he has a real kind of like it's something's clearly, or it's like a look of like, oh Christ, I left the oven on. Like,
but yeah, he's trying to work out. Can I turn around? Like,
and he cuts like wafting his hair, like he's trying to play it cool, but he's clearly got something on his mind now. Like,
Or, well, yeah, like an insect's gone in his eye or something. It's like, oh, Christ.
Well,
no.
that's the thing. We were bound to have talked about this during Escape from Miami as just a thing, but like nobody except that one guy I thought was a cop. Nobody's wearing helmets, and I guess I wonder if you're in a biker gang. If you came out with the helmet, would they like ridicule you?
1,000%. Yeah, in this type of biker gang, where they ride these kind of bikes, if you wore a helmet, I think they probably would make fun of you back then, at least.
Yeah, because there's a guy there. You see one guy who's got like he's almost cliched like Harley guy. Like he's got a gut and he's got a girl on behind him, but he's got the thing going on. Like, well, the leather jacket's designed to be like it's protection. It's if you skid. That leather is tough material. Like, it won't completely save you, but you'll be a lot less damage if you had it on. But he's basically topless, the gut hanging out. But he's wearing like a leather vest with no sleeves, as if he's trying to tempt fate. This guy, like, if you skid on that guy's leather vest ain't gonna help you. Your friggin' arms are gonna be like non-existent after like a couple of feet.
That's because he lives life on the edge.
He is a tough guy.
He's a tough guy, yeah. He doesn't care. He might die today.
But no, I was very curious about what happened with Yashito. It was almost a vibe too, where he's realized that all these guys are around him. He's like, are they following me? Like, what the hell is going on here? Like, it does. Obviously, like someone in the editing bay been like using that take in particular as like, was it the only good one they had of him, or they were like, oh, this is really funny. You can tell. This was the day that his house burned down because he did leave the oven on. And this is the moment that he remembered. Let's put it in the movie.
It's amazing. I love it. It's so weird that you would go, yeah, that's going in the movie. You're right. Like, logic would say don't use that cut.
No. It's maybe it might have been a proto David Lynch move of like, because sometimes Lynch he will use an odd take.
True.
Whereas it's like there's a bit in the Twin Peaks pilot when like the Cooper and Truman are examining Laura Palmer's body, and there's a guy there, and there's like a flickering like lamp above them, and Cooper's just like, could you give me and the sheriff a moment, please? And the guy's like, oh, Jim, and Cooper's like, what? Could you leave us alone now, please? And the guy's like, oh yeah, guess out. And then it turned out that like the guy just didn't hear Kyle MacLachlan say the line properly, and so he improv by giving his character a name and stuff, or like he was like, oh, my name's Jim or something, and then like it was obviously just a botched take. Yeah, Kyle MacLachlan just kind of rolled through by going like, well, get the hell out, man, like do the thing you're supposed to do. And David Lynch is like, oh, it's perfect, we'll use that one.
He knows. He's got the right senses to know when something is going to work. Whereas this doesn't work, but because it doesn't work, it's funny.
But no, the only other note I do have is that just when the vocals kick in, and it's got Angelo doing this kind of like, again, he's going back into bikers by day, ninjas by night. It reminded me of just during the week I saw TikTok someone did of like, one guy going like, all right, guys, the name of our band is going to be AC/DC, but like, who's going to be the singer? And just cut into another guy going, I don't know, guys, who should the singer be? And I got a big chuckle out of that. So I thought, I don't remember who the TikTok guy was, but just know that that's out there somewhere.
Especially because I always think of you when I think of AC/DC, because of that moment. We might have talked about it on the show, but where you brought up Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, but the live one, where he's introducing, you want some dirty deeds?
You want some dirty deeds?
You want some dirty deeds done dirt cheap?
Yeah. Oh, no, that the whole live album is just like, in between every song is just... The rest of the band like, what song are we playing? Like, looking at the set list on the floor. All right, okay, this one, okay.
He sounds like he's dying.
I say, well, it would do. Maybe. I think we'd have more chance with this than we would with Angelo coming out of retirement to do a cover of an unrelated song. But I don't know. Maybe putting the screws to AC/DC and been like, guys, if you do some Dragon Sound covers,
yeah,
probably go down pretty well with it. Because the people who listen to AC/DC They would go for some Escape from Miami. You know, Tough Guys is one. Tough Guys is 100% a 1987 AC/DC song. You know,
these bikers are probably, you know, riding along, blasting out "Highway to Hell."
Oh, totally, yeah. Although the AC/DC crew, maybe Friends wouldn't be there. Friends might be too innocuous, too wholesome for their liking, but
they've got to do the Tough Guy songs, and then someone else. You could do a split. Yeah.
Although I would love to friend for eternity, loyalty, honesty. Well,
yeah.
But,
master fucking peace.
Or maybe just have to go to them like, look, 94,000 views on YouTube, man. I didn't check the Spotify because I canceled my account, but I bet you it's probably up there as well.
How dare you? Let me have a look.
Spotify just as a thing doesn't make sense to me. It's just like, well, it's all on YouTube. You know, it's just right there if you need it.
It's not the same. It's not as good. Friends has 418,261.
Uh-huh.
So remember that, 418.
Mm-hmm.
The next highest, Against the Ninja, 85,546. So a massive discrepancy.
Yeah. Also, also the second in the YouTube list as well.
But this, on Spotify, this has a good few more than Escape from Miami. Escape from Miami is currently 18,131. Whereas this, The Tough Guys, is 22,182.
That's not much more, though. Really, is it? Like, it's only...
2,000. The least plays is track 10, Against the Ninja Instrumental.
Poor instrumental.
Aww.
Yeah.
There's only 2 instrumentals, Friends and Against the Ninja, so that makes sense. And there's also a live track, Fantastic Fest, live. It's 10 minutes long, so I'm assuming it's a medley.
Yeah, well, must be. Well, it'll be worth checking out between episodes. You know, see what maybe they throw in some snazzy maneuvers.
Yeah, we could maybe do a special, a bonus feature on that. We'll see. But I'm noted out for this one.
Yes, I'm all done for minute 53.
Yeah, minute 53 is done, baby. So these tough guys will be back in 1 week. In the meantime, you can go out and be American males and, whatnot. You can make people your, devoted partner instead of a weekend lover.
Yeah. You're hitting the clubs. You know, nothing wrong with an ascot. Don't listen to Mark Hamill. If you want to rock an ascot in the club, then, you invest yourself with some more of that Adam West Bruce Wayne energy.
If you want to be tapping that ass, you get that ascot. Let me tell you. And come and speak to us on Facebook at the Bat Minute Listeners Cave, at the Miami Minutes Taekwondo Orphanage, on Twitter at Miami Minutes, Instagram and Threads, Miami Minutes. And why don't you find our network, Sleepy Charlie Media, on Patreon? We haven't got any bonus things for this show yet, but we've got bonus stuff. It's mostly done for Bat Minute, but there is other things that might appeal to you. You know, there's a commentary track for Terminator 2. Mm-hmm. That's a movie with a lot of bike riding. If you're into your bikes, there's bikes in that. There's a commentary track for Beetlejuice. Not so many bikes. I'm not sure what the connection could be there. There's friends in that movie.
Is there friends though? There's married couples and families, but there's not many friends. Beetlejuice doesn't have any friends himself. But
they, Lydia becomes friends with the ghosts.
I guess that's true. That's true. Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of in a parental way, but they're friends because she has parents.
Somebody do now an edit where they change the shake Sonora at the end to be like Winona Ryder floating to friends.
Yes. See, I always hear that as Shake Your Booty, the Frank Zappa album. Which I didn't get for about a year was a pun. I was like, yes, he's dressed as a shake. He's Shake Your Booty. And then I was, because I'm slow, I sat there and was like, wait a minute. Shake Your Booty?
Slow. They called you slow. How dare you say that?
I'm slow when it comes to wordplay. Which is odd because I like Japanese things and they fucking love wordplay. But there you go. I'm not good with wordplay. I love it. When I finally get it, I'm like, oh my God. But I'm slow with wordplay. So do that anyway. Yeah, check out the Patreon because it helps us keep this show on the air. It helps us make other shows. And, we could, I think when this is done, we could do a few nice things. We're going to put a couple maybe on here, but there might be some Patreon stuff coming too.
Oh, definitely, yeah, because we'll be finishing up with Batman pretty soon as well. So then we have all the time in the world to do random side project episodes. So
Exactly. So give it a look and join us again, as I say, in 1 week for minute 54. And there may still be some tough guys. Yeah, flex.
Oh, there's this thing now. I actually realizing they're like, a song started. We're probably going to be with tough guys for like the next 5 weeks or something.
Flex for 5 weeks straight. Don't relent. Just hold it.
Listen to me.